Hey guys, welcome. It's Joe Perea at the GA Fab Lab here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and today we're going to be turning a TKO axle into the front axle of a competition sporty rig, 2.2 Sporty. So obviously we got our axle housing. I'm actually going to be using a rear truss for this, and we got a destroy plate from Winter One on RCC Crawler. I think you can also pick these up at Crazed Builds for about 30 bucks. You can also get them engraved. I'm just going to be using a mock-up servo for this. But the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this housing, and I'm going to get some brass inserts installed in here, 5/32 drill, and then we'll use these small brass inserts to reinforce those holes. So I'm going to get that done real quick, and then we'll jump back in. Alright, so we got our brass inserts in here. Now what happens is those actually go through the axle a little bit. So what you're going to want to do is go back and just hit those with the Dremel a couple times to clearance them if you're putting tubes in, which there will be tubes going into this rig. So I'm just going to kind of Dremel that back just a little bit just to get that out of the way of the tube. So get that done real quick. Okay, our next step's with our truss here. So what I did is I drew a center line on this, and this is basically between here and here. Draw a center line, and then I'm measuring in about 1/8 of an inch, or actually exactly 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to punch, and then I'm going to drill these two holes to tap for a 3mm M3 by 0.5. So I believe that is a number 39 or number 40 drill bit. I'm going to drill all the way through the truss, and you'll find out why here in a minute. But we get that done, and we'll go jump back in. Alright guys, so I got my holes drilled in the top here all the way through. Now before you tap these, you want to take this step. What we're going to do is get our plate set up on here about actually where we want it. And so let me get that all set up in place, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay guys, so I got my plate kind of mocked up on here. What I'm doing is just putting a nut on the back of this to get the right positioning of the plate on where it's going to sit on the truss. And with this destroy plate, it's offset, so on this side you're going to be using that front hole, and then on this other side you're going to be using the back hole. Now I'm actually putting my servo on what's going to be to the left here, but it's going to be the passenger side of the rig, the right side of the rig, and that's because of some clearance, because this truss is a little bit off centered. So to get the proper clearance for the servo, I'm actually going to be putting it on this side. Not to mention it leaves my holes open for my X beef mod that I'll be showing you later in this video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill from the bottom here with this number 40 drill bit. It's going to push my hole straight through and up through this carbon exactly where they're going to fall. After that, I'll go ahead and drill these out to 1/8 inch. And then go ahead and tap the truss at that point. So let me get those steps done, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, welcome back. Got my holes tapped here in the truss. Just did a quick test fit to make sure everything's fitting properly. It appears that it's all lined up and working correctly. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make some spacers for right here. I'm just going to use some Delrin tubing and just give it something to clamp down on. One other thing you want to do on this back hole here, right there, is you want to countersink. You want to countersink that hole because when you set that servo in there, if you're using a button head, it will actually touch the servo and may give you some clearance issues. So if you just use one of these guys and countersink that for this type of screw, then you should be fine there. So I'm going to go ahead and make these up, and then we'll move on to the next part. Alright fellas, welcome back. So we got our Delrin spacers put in. They worked out to be just under 3/4 of an inch. Had to fuss with them a little bit, but got those put in. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and just kind of test fit this onto the axle. make sure everything's lining up, and then start working on the servo part. Hey guys, welcome back. So I've got my plate all fit on there with my spacers. I got the 2 top truss screws in there. I got the servo sitting in there. I actually had to countersink that one bolt because I didn't have anything longer than 30 millimeter. So I had to actually open up those holes a little bit to get it to bite down here in the axle itself. But everything looks like it's fitting well. That servo is touching a little more than I like. I don't know if you can see that. It's touching the truss. So what I might try to do is space this up another millimeter or 2. But looks pretty good. So I was just out of curiosity, what I did was I took a caliper and I measured basically from the bottom of the axle to the top of the truss, and right around what does that say, 2 1/8 inch roughly. What I've got here is my existing Sporty, and actually measuring that, and it's right at 2 1/8 as well. So we didn't actually raise anything up higher than it's already going to sit. So looks pretty good. So my next step is, what I'm going to do is the links are actually going to be attached to the plate, the upper links. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come back in here and cut off these 3 link mounts, because I'm probably going to end up sticking maybe my BEC or one piece of my electronics back up under there. So I'm going to disassemble this, cut those off, clean it up, and then we'll take you to the next part. Thanks a lot. Hey guys, welcome back. So I got the tab mounts cut off the truss here, so that's kind of what it looks like when it's all cleaned up and finished. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all together. I think what I'm going to try to do is put my BEC somewhere in this area, and then get the rest of the electronics situated. But get this mounted up. You guys can check it out. Welcome back, guys. So got the plate all mounted up, got the electronics tray on there. Was able to get the BEC behind that. It's tight, but it's in there. It's got the servo mounted up too, and I don't know if you can tell, but I got some clearance now between that truss screw and the servo, so that's looking good. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. No complaints at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and get these electronics all situated on there, and we'll see where we're at after that. Hey guys, so I just wanted to take a second and show you the finished product here. I was able to get this thing fully assembled, mounted to the rig, and ran it at a couple comps already. Works really well with the tubes I got in there. I do have my X-Beef mod in there, which you can get at gafabrication.com. Did make a little plate up here to help protect some of the wiring for where I got mounted my receiver mounted. But everything came out pretty good, man. It's got the electronics mounted up under there, nice and clean, out of the way. Overall, pretty happy with this. I think I still need to dial in the geo just a little bit, but you know, for a front sporty axle, this TKO is done pretty damn good. Best part is where that drive line is, it's way up out of the way. So thanks Ot6 Racing for putting out a good product, and thanks for watching, guys. Please send me a PM if you have any questions. Thanks.